Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to my video, an overview of the Green Lantern by Geoff Johns Omnibus #1. So first things first, this motherfucker is hefty, right? I was honestly so surprised by how large this book was. Now, I'd heard that it was quite hefty in itself, but like, you don't really know until you get it. And same with the second Omnibus. It's a big one. So before I get into it, I'm gonna actually show you guys the sleeve or the dust cover, whatever you want to call it, and then the actual spine and exterior hardcover for those who haven't seen it before. So most times any images on these sleeves are usually just like hand-picked cover art that was used on one of the single issues included. So here we've got Hal Jordan. He's just vibing, flying through the sky. Pretty dope cover, honestly. You've got this Green Lantern ring. I don't know. You can't call it a stance, it's just a hand, but you got that pose, and it's on the spines for all of the Geoff Johns Green Lantern by Geoff Johns Omnibus. So then on the back, we've also got Hal Jordan once again, because, he's the star of this entire story. It reads, "Witness the rebirth of the Corps." For nearly 10 years, Geoff, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but anyways, Geoff Johns was the primary architect of the Green Lantern universe. He created a vibrant world with elegantly built upon and streamlined decades of Green Lantern mythology, earning both critical and commercial success. From the return of Hal Jordan to the introduction of another Lantern Corps, John's run turned the established canon on its head and forever changed the direction of the Green Lantern's books. So for those of you wondering, this book includes Green Lantern Rebirth 1 through 6, Green Lantern Corps Recharge number 1 through 5, Green Lantern 1 through 25, Green Lantern Corps 14 through 16, Tales of the Sinestro Corps, Superman Prime number 1, Green Lantern Sinestro Corps Special number 1, Green Lantern Secret Files 2005 number 1, and Green Lantern / Sinestro Corps Secret File number 1. So, what did I think about this book? First, actually, I'll show you the cover. I really do like this art. And for those of you wondering, it retails at $125 US, $163 Canadian. You can get it discounted on certain websites, Amazon or something. But if you prefer to support your local comic book shop, I'm all for it. So, what do I think about this book? Well, to begin with, this book, honestly, it's an excellent jumping on point for Green Lantern. I myself have never read Green Lantern before, and I was worried that I might be confused. And when I first read the first couple of issues in the story, I was like, okay, already talking about Emerald Dawn. I haven't read that. A little concerned that I'm going to be like lost for the first half of this book. But a couple issues in afterwards, they actually go into great depth explaining everything that's happened, basically giving you recaps, and about characters who, for example, maybe you haven't seen yet. So like Cyborg Superman, like they give a good backstory on all of these characters that are key to the plot of the story itself. So right off the bat, if you're not familiar with any of the Green Lantern work, then this is a great spot to join and just kind of start on with, because it really does explain everything up until this series. And it also is tied to a lot of major events. So, like, this already, you can tell it is leaning towards the Blackest Night. It does it quite well, and honestly, I gotta say I'm really impressed, because I actually read the Blackest Night event. I had a DC Essential collection of that story, and I thought it was really good, but I wanted more context. I wanted to know what happened beforehand, what led up to it, and this book does an excellent job at kind of giving you an idea. Towards the end, you get to see the creation of new Lantern Corps, so the Blue Lanterns. You even get a hint of the Black Lanterns themselves. You get a lot from this book. So yeah, honestly, overall, amazing read. This is probably one of the first stories that I've read where I knew from like probably halfway through the book that I'd be willing to reread this just because it's that good. Ultimately, an amazing point to start on for Hal Jordan. In terms of the other characters, so like Kyle Rayner or Guy Gardner, I mean, like, they are in this story. They you don't need to read anything about them before reading this necessarily. There is reference to when Kyle Rayner had to pick up from Hal Jordan. that kind of gives but they do give information on that, so it's not like you're kind of stuck there with your pants down. Like, they really do kind of give you everything you need to know about these characters to start reading about them and start liking them. Geoff Johns, what an amazing writer. I gotta say, like, this story kept me, like, locked into this book throughout the entire omnibus. My friends were astounded because I think I finished this book in 1 or 2 days. Like, I just sat down and I read it. I think after my first reading session, I was already halfway through the omnibus, if not a little bit further. Ultimately, like, this book, probably one of my favorite reads so far, and I'm really excited because I've got the number 2 omnibus right next to me. Number 3's up there. Also got the Brightest Day number 3 coming in soon. Unfortunately, the omnibus is out of print right now. I'm sure for Brightest Day, but I gotta say, like, the way they wrote these characters, you get enough context about these characters that you know who you're looking at. You kind of get their story. You know what role they play, but it's not so much that you're like, okay, enough with the history lesson. I want to move on. And like I said, it does an amazing job at setting up the Blackest Night event, and kind of giving you a little bit of a sneak peek. It's crazy. You'd think a collection, an entire book like this, would leave you satisfied, but at the end of the book, it just leaves you wanting more. And I think that's perfect because there are two more omnibus plus the Brightest Day books, so it's pretty important to want to read more. But, like, honestly, ultimately, this book, one of my favorites so far, and yeah, I would definitely recommend buying this. If you get a chance, I'll leave a link to it on Amazon in the description below. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this book. If you've read it before, let me know what your opinions are of it. Maybe you guys have different opinions, little things that I didn't mention, stuff like that. Another thing here, I don't want to go ahead and pass these guys by as well, because the art in this book was amazing. We have a lot of talented artists in here, and I'm sorry if I completely ruined these names. We've got Carlos Pacheco, Ethan Van Shiver, Ivan Rios, Dave Gibbons, Patrick Gleason, Simone Bianchi, or Simon Bianchi, I don't know how it's pronounced, and Darwin Cook. Ultimately, the art in this book is phenomenal. Let me see if I can just find, like, I could probably open up to any page, and I'd be happy with what I'm looking at. The cover art also amazing, right? So you got Batman there right after he tried the Green Lantern ring, and he said he can't move on from his family's death. Like, look at this. Look at this art. It is absolutely phenomenal. Now, one concern that people might have when looking at this book, just because it's so large, is gutter loss. And I will say that, yeah, the gutter loss is there. It's not something you can ignore, but ultimately, it's not too impeding on the reading experience. There were a couple full left to right slots that were kind of like, I kind of wish I was reading this in like a single issue format, because I could admire all the art. There was this one I remember that stood out to me particularly towards the end. And by the way, if you guys are still watching this and you're not already tuned in, there will be spoilers in this review. When you see the anti-monitor, there is one page, I don't know if I can find it, but there's one page with the anti-monitor, and it has him, like, in the center, and you can't even really see him. Here's the anti-monitor himself. But, like, it's weird, though, because, ultimately, they did amazing. Like, here's a full pager, I think. Yeah. The light is not helping with you guys being able to see this. But the gutter loss, it's there. It's just, it's not terrible. But there are some times, like, there are some times where it's kind of like, I kind of wish it wasn't there. It's not too bad, though. There was only, like, probably 2 pages total out of this entire book that I decided were like, okay, the gutter loss is kind of a pain in the ass here. But, like, when you're reading this many pages, 2 pages is literally nothing. And if you really want to admire the art, you can always just look up the full image online, just to kind of get a look at it. But yeah, so the art was amazing, writing was amazing, format is great, quality of the book, outstanding. Although I will say, Amazon kind of bugged up. They kind of dented the top of the omnibus. I don't know if you can see it. There's like a little bit of a bend there, and even on the sleeve, dented. It's a bit of a bummer to me. I mean, Amazon's kind of known for like not having the best handling for comic books, but it's like noticeable. I didn't notice it at first until I opened it, but it's noticeable once you notice it. And And, you know, it's a bit of a bummer, but ultimately, you know, we deal with what we can. Uh, but yeah, if you're even on the fence about buying this book, I want you to push yourself off onto the side where you buy it, because it is literally that good. Coming up, I'm probably going to be reading and finishing the second omnibus, and also giving my input on that. Once I've run through everything, so like once I've read through Brightest Day, third omnibus, I'll probably just give an overall outlook and review and opinions on Geoff John's entire Green Lantern run, because I'm really impressed with where this is going, and from what I've heard, it goes nowhere but up. So I'm really excited. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, opinions, or just things you want to, you know, talk about in the comment section below, go ahead and leave that there. But yeah, I'll probably be doing more, you know, videos like this for bigger collections, so whether it be an omnibus or a run, so like Tom King's Batman or something like that. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good one. See you in the next one.